Hello, my dear friends. In part 1 of chapter number 1, that is living organism, we have gone through the uh, just the introduction part, and right now with part 2, we are going deep into the living organism as we are understanding what makes the living organism, that is building block. Our structure is made up of few molecules, and these molecules are a specialized molecule arranged in a special way to perform a specific type of function in living organisms. So we are going to see which are the basic molecules which are found in our body. So part 2, that is building block of the living organism. Fine. So first we'll see the types of molecules requires to join together to form a particular structure, and that is actually consigned by a specific type of chemical bond. So various materials are joined together with a specific type of chemical bonds. So which type of bonds are found inside the living organism? So chemical bond is an attractive force which links two atoms to form a molecule. Chemical bonds are acting like a powerful glue that holds atoms close together. Three kinds of chemical bonds which are found generally inside the living organism. First, ionic bond. Second, covalent bond. And third is the hydrogen bond. Let us see all one by one. Now first, if I talk about ionic bond, when the force of attraction only between the ions which is having opposite charges, that is either positive and negative charge, so they hold the ions together. These type of attractive force is called ionic bonds. Second type of bonds which are seen is the covalent bond. Now instant the atom forms a molecule by sharing one, two, or three pairs of each valence electron, valence that is free in the radius. So if valence electrons are shared between two different atoms, then it is called covalent bond. The greater the number of electron pairs which are shared between two atoms, the stronger covalent bond can be seen. If suppose two atoms are sharing one pair of electron, then the bond is that much strong. If they are sharing two pair of electron, the magnitude, the strength is more strong. And that's if they are sharing three pairs of electron, they can form more stronger covalent bond. So covalent bonds are the most common chemical bonds in living organism. The compound that results from them forms most of the body's structure. So it is found in chief, where it is coming to structural component of our body, that is organelles which forms together cells, right? Cells joins together to form tissue, organ, and organ system. So structural component of cell or cellular organelles are mainly having this covalent bond. That's why it is mentioned there. It is body's structure, found in body's structure. The third type of bond is hydrogen bond. A hydrogen bond is a weak bond, and it has a great advantage in biological system. No, biological system, cellular system, living organism is a closed system where there are so many different material is getting exchanged through the process of metabolism. The interconversion of one type of molecule into the other or other into the third. is always and continuously happening inside the cell, which is called actually chemical processes or metabolism. So there, if a material is regularly processed in interconversion of various types of other molecules, then the hydrogen bonds plays an important role because it is weak, so easily get detached, and the atoms can be regained from the molecules, and that is how it is very important. Right? So these three types of bond, ionic bond, covalent bond, and hydrogen bonds, are three important bonds of our body system. Now, if we are going deep into the building blocks of our life and their functions, the chief constituent of our body, that is living organism, is formed of many type of inorganic as well as organic biomolecules. Biomolecules means molecules which are seen or which are found inside living organism. It is called biomolecules. So the chief division of these biomolecules are of two types. Number one, inorganic compounds. So inorganic compounds actually are not structural component of our body or cell. It is not structural compound, which includes water, minerals, etc., and are always in micro biomolecules, so small sized, low molecular weight, and readily soluble in water or diffusible. And the other type of the biomolecules are organic molecules. It may be micro and macro, means they are, if they are micro, they are small in size. All the characteristic features which are described earlier, small size, low molecular weight, readily soluble in water, they are applicable to the microorganic biomolecules. Examples are monosugars, amino acids, etc. And if I talk about macrobiomolecules, which are also type of the other type of the organic molecules, they are large sized with high molecular weight, which are really insoluble in the water and slightly soluble or non-diffusible, which are not actually diffused into the water. Examples of those large or macro biomolecules are proteins, fat, nucleic acids, etc. Now, these both type of biomolecules play very important role in metabolism, that is our chemical reactions. Right? How? At what extent? Let us see all of those. First, we see the role of the water, which is actually inorganic compound. uh, Inorganic compound is not actually part of our body as far as structural component is concerned. Water plays very important role as a medium because life is originated and started in water only. So water becomes the medium of life. That's the most important role of water, which is there inside living organism. So first role of water is water forms approximately 70 to 90% of cellular pool, that is medium, cytoplasm, right? So we are having cytoplasm, and that cytoplasm is made up of water, maybe 70 to 90% of different species, right? Second role is it forms 65%, that is two-thirds of human body. If we remove all the water from our body, we remains only 35%. So total 65% is water which is present, but as a medium, not as a structural part. Do remember this. It is formed of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 2 is to 1, H2O, that is, right? 95% of water is found in free state, in moving state inside our body. That's why it is not structural component. And only 5% is combined with in different form inside the cell. Water help in sustaining the life process. Why? Because It is a medium in which metabolism is actually happening. It is itself sometimes used as a reactant in various biochemical reactions, hydrolytic type of chemical reactions where water is utilized in the chemical reaction itself, right? So water plays actually important role in life processes. So water is called elixir or the cradle of life, as life is not possible in the absence of the water. So that's what the role of the water inside our any of the organisms' life. If I talk about the other, that is the role of oxygen. Second, oxygen is mainly utilized in aerobic cellular respiration of the nutrient inside mitochondria to produce the energy rich ATP molecules, so is essential for life. Look, our cellular metabolic activities are requiring energy in the form of ATP. That ATP is produced inside mitochondria. Mitochondria requires nutrients, that is chiefly glucose, and breakdown of glucose is possible in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen is that important, that vital for the cell, right? So in the absence of oxygen, only 5% of energy is available to release from glucose, right? So if oxygen is not utilized in cellular respiration, then anaerobic respiration produces only 5% of the energy, which is not at all our cup of tea. We require a huge load of energy, and that is only possible by this oxygen. So that's the role of oxygen in our life. Third one, the role of sodium chloride, that is common salt, NaCl, what we say. Now, sodium chloride is a source of sodium ion and chlorine ion for our cells. So, which plays very important role in metabolic functions of body, especially when in ionic form. That ions are sodium ion and chlorine ion. It is required, or it is required for maintenance of the pH, and it is maintenance. It is required for so many different type of the metabolic processes. So that's how it is important for your body. Third, role of carbohydrates. As described earlier, in aerobic cell respiration, we require nutrient, that is glucose. Glucose is carbohydrate, right? So their importance is for utilization, for liberation the energy. Energy what we utilized in the form of the ATP is produced only by breaking down of the glucose, which is carbohydrate. So carbohydrate are organic compounds which is formed of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, and generally in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 1. These are commonly called saccharide or sugar, right? It is commonly called as sugar. Carbohydrates are the main storage molecule. Why? Because most organisms use carbohydrates as an important fuel. By breaking down these bonds and releasing the energy to sustain the life. So our life of almost all organisms, from starting from the bacteria to the humans or the trees in the plant, each of the organism utilizes carbohydrates, that is glucose, chiefly for their energy requirement. Right? So that's the role of the carbohydrate, energy giving material it is. In few of the, for example, if we talk about the plants, they form the cell wall, cellulose and the other types of derivatives of glucose from the cell wall. That is also a structural component. Now, if we talk about the other molecule called protein, proteins are polymeric compounds which are formed by interlinkage of the amino acids. That is monomer of protein. and they are conjoined by peptide bonds. Look, our body is made up chiefly of the protein. So protein is chief structural component of our not our, actually of entire living organism. Starting from, if you talk about the microorganisms such as bacteria, their cells also are made up of protein chiefly. Now protein is a polymer of amino acids, and those amino acids are conjoined or interlinked by each other with a peptide bonds. That's what it is mentioned here. Only 20 types of amino acids are biological importance, though there are several, I think total hundreds types of the amino acids available, but only 20 are important as far as biological importance is concerned. So they are said to be magic 20. Proteins play a vital role. Vital means life cannot be possible without that. It is called vital role. So proteins are playing a vital role in formation of structure of the living organism. Like carbohydrates and fats, protein can be broken down with release of the energy. So if you break down carbohydrate, you can release the energy. If you break down fat, you can release the energy. But if you break down protein, then also you can release the energy. So it is a source of energy. But one prior matter to be understood is protein is not stored as such in the body, and it is not normally only used as substantial source of energy in condition of starvation. So it is not in the excess amount in the body. So whatsoever protein found in our structure only can be utilized. So during starvation only they can be the source of the energy. Otherwise, stored amount of the energy is fat and carbohydrates. So first, all the carbohydrates will be utilized from your body. When carbohydrates finishes off, then all the lipids which are there, excessive lipids which are stored inside your body, will be utilized. And at the end, stored protein, not stored actually, uh, protein which has composed your cells, it is going to be utilized at the last. So it is called starvation. Now coming to the role of the lipid. Lipids comprises a major group of insoluble hydrocarbons having many functions. One of the most important characteristic feature of lipid is it is insoluble in water. Only organic compound which is insoluble in water. That is why it is important as material which is forming cell cytoplasm, right? Cytoplasm, which is water, and external medium is also water. To to separate both the liquid medium, both the watery medium, we requires material which is not made of, which is not dissolvable or insoluble in water. So lipid plays important role there. So your plasma membrane is composed of the lipid. That is one of the most chief role of the lipid which is found inside any of the cells. These are the polymers of the alcohol, that is glycerol, and fatty acids which are interlinked by the ester bonds. Now complex lipids such as true fats are important organic molecules that are used to provide energy. So as and when we require energy in a huge quantity, complex lipid can be broken down and released huge quantity of the energy which is required in the form of ATP definitely. So they are providing the energy for our body. Fats in animals, right, also provide the protection from the heat loss in insulation mechanism. Our skin, our skin is the external covering. Now below the skin we have fatty small insulative layer which is preventing our internal heat to lose into our medium, environmental medium. So it is actually for the protection from the heat loss, insulating layer, right? It is also found inside the nerves, nerve cells for the insulation. Now, if I talk about the last molecule, which is found as a building block, it is nucleic acid. Nucleic acid generally considered to be molecule of inheritance, as we know. These are polymers of nucleotides which are interlinked by phosphodiester bonds, and that is why it is polynucleotide. Monomer is nucleotide and polymer is polynucleotide, and the bond which is found between them is phosphodiester bond. Now, each nucleotide is formed by three basic components. One, pentose sugar. If ribose, then it is RNA. If deoxyribose, then it is DNA. A phosphate group, and the third one is an inorganic nitrogen base. It may be a purine or it may be a pyrimidine. Two types of inorganic nitrogen bases can be found. Fine. So these are the three basic components which makes the nucleotide: pentose sugar plus nitrogen base plus phosphate group combined to form the nucleotide. Now DNA act as a genetic material which is requiring for inheritance in most of the organism and controls the synthesis of structural and functional proteins. RNA also acts as genetic material in all plant viruses, that is tobacco mosaic virus, and helps in protein synthesis. So chiefly DNA is genetic material. Only some organisms are having RNA as their genetic material. So what is the role of RNA? RNA plays a role in the protein synthesis. So in the process of protein synthesis, DNA is inactive, RNA is active. But inheritance, DNA is active, RNA is inactive. So there is a difference, marginal difference between role of DNA and RNA. Right? So that's the role of nucleic acid. We have seen many different inorganic and organic compounds which are found in our body. So these are cumulatively forming organisms. So before going deep into the various types of the characteristic feature of the organism, we must look at to these building blocks of the body and their function definitely. So after viewing to these, into the next lecture, we are going deep into the various types of functions which are shown by the organism. Basic characteristic feature we have seen in the introduction. Material which is making the organics, that is our body system, building blocks, we have seen into this lecture. Now we are going ahead with the various types of the characteristic feature into the deep, which is shown by the organisms into the third lecture. Right? So I'll see you into the third lecture later on. Have a nice time, and I'll see you.